In a world where left is up and right is apparently wrong, two souls make sense of it all, or at least have fun trying. Gear up, friends, for Chicken and the Dog. Welcome to another episode of Chicken and the Dog. I am the dog, and with me, as always, is the guy that never lives in the past, the chicken. What up, dog?
I'm always moving forward. I think you've used that intro before, and I'm still moving forward.
Yeah. Look, man, I guess we can't look behind us. Gotta keep on keeping on, right? Look, man, I want to first apologize to our listeners, our faithful listeners out there, for not recording a results show earlier this week. The dog and the chicken had some life things going on and kept us from doing that. But I know that y'all always look forward to listening to not only the chicken and the dog, and who doesn't, but also the Gooch Award and the Dog of the Week Award. And so I'm going to turn that over to the chicken right now, and we're still going to do those on this episode.
Yeah, so we'll dive right in with the Gooch. Obviously, it caught you out of nowhere that we didn't have a recap show, so we'll lead off with that. I think it's fitting to lead off with the Gooch player from last week, who came arguably out of nowhere. Now, to those in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, maybe not so much, but it certainly caught me by surprise as the Pittsburgh Panthers took on the Florida State Seminoles in an upset victory, and their quarterback, Mason Heintzel, number 6 on his jersey, number 1 in their hearts this week, threw for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which is rare for a Gooch. Typically, the Gooch comes in a little unscathed, but he followed those 2 picks up, leading his team in rushing yards with 64 yards on 16 carries. Hats off to the Gooch of the Week, Mason Heintzel of the Pitt Panthers. Don't come back.
Dad, don't come back, man. Look, that when we were trying to search for the Gooch, man, and trying to find art, who has come out of nowhere, who is starting to make a name of himself. I think this guy right here not only just has Gooch written all over him, but he probably should be wearing a shirt, a jersey around town, around campus for the next week or two with Gooch on the back of it, because he's got to be the most popular kid on campus now.
Yeah, I would think so. Again, at least for this week. There's no telling what happens on Saturday, but enjoy your 6 days of celebrity, my friend.
That's right. I mean, do you really think people knew who he was up until Saturday? I think there was maybe, a handful of the people that are the students on campus, but now he's popular. You've been gooched.
There you go. You've been Gooch. Don't come back. From that, we will go into another award that it was up for grabs. I'm going to tell you, there were a lot of contenders for this award this week. And in fact, this particular unit could have been considered a Gooch based on the caliber that they went up against. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's Dog of the Week is brought to you by Breaking Chains Fitness, Breaking Chains for Kingdom Games. You can find them at bcfit.net. That is their email address, BC Fitness in Harlem. They are Breaking Chains Fitness, building high caliber individuals. And this unit showed up as a high caliber group on Saturday when the Texas Longhorns defense took on and took out the Oklahoma Sooners offense, up to and including their potential All-American quarterback, John Mateer, potential Heisman Trophy candidate at the time, John Mateer, holding him to 202 yards through the air, 3 interceptions by this defensive unit. They put scrambling John Mateer on the ground 5 times for sacks. The Texas Longhorns defense controlled this football game, won this game. I don't care what Arch did. It wasn't much, by the way. The Longhorns D won this game. They are your Dog of the Week.
Man, look, and I think they deserve that. I know that we have a certain friend, a certain listener of the show that's really going to appreciate that the Texas defense got Dog of the Week. And two things about that, I thought for a moment, could they have been the Gooch? And the answer really is no. And here's why. The Texas defense hasn't been playing bad football. In week one, they held Ohio State. And if you look at Ohio State, the way that they're rolling these days, they only held them to 14 points. So Texas defense has been playing pretty good football. So a Gooch wouldn't have been a good award for them. But the Dog of the Week, that's great. Something else I want to mention about Breaking Chains Fitness, and I haven't told you this yet because I forgot until this second, until you brought them up because it's early. But they have been nominated and they're a finalist for an award in the Augusta area as the best personal fitness trainer in Augusta. That, my friend, is because he represents Chicken and the Dog and Dog of the Week.
Well, there you go. And again, high caliber. We're talking about the utmost in what he brings to his clients, not only from a physical improvement standpoint, but also striving for those kingdom gains, the spiritual standpoint of the individual. Hats off to Breaking Chains.
Upper echelon.
There you go.
That just happened.
He said it, but he can't spell it.
UPPER echelon. All right, look, man, let's jump into these top 25 games, man, because there is a lot to talk about. There's some fantastic games going on, and it's just, it's like I say this all the time. We are getting into the meat of the season, man, where there is just game after game after game. And I wish we would have done that results show because there were some really big games that happened over the last weekend and some upsets. And none of us would have, I don't think there's very many people picking Oklahoma to lose to Texas, right? And so I don't see that this weekend being any different than the last several weekends where there's just these teams are beating each other up and upsets are happening. This, my friend, right, this first game could be an upset. I'm just saying. A 4-1, 1-1 in the ACC takes on a number 2, 5-0, 1-0 in the SEC, Miami. Louisville versus Miami. Louisville's got to travel to Miami. Miami is favored to win that game by 13.5 points. You better watch out. That Louisville quarterback is not bad at all. He's sneaky good. I still have the Fighting Pecks winning this game, but I would say watch out for Louisville.
Yeah, I think this one could definitely be a close matchup between these two. Louisville's having a great year so far. I don't see them having enough to quite get over the hump that is Miami right now, especially playing at home in Hard Rock Stadium. My money would be on Miami and Carson Beck. The Hurricanes come out on top.
Yeah, I predicted a lot of upsets last week, and I was wrong on quite a bit of them. So I may flip the script this week. I don't know. We'll see. The next game, man, and look, this team has made it into the top 25. A shout out to my buddy Damon, man. He's a big Cornhusker fan. Born and raised in Nebraska before he moved out to West Texas. But look, a 5-1, 2-1 in the Big Ten, number 25 Nebraska goes to and has to play a 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. Minnesota, Nebraska is favored to win that game by 8.5 points. 46.5 is the over and under. Dylan Raiola is playing fantastic football in his sophomore season. I like the Cornhuskers.
I think this is one to watch. Minnesota and the Gophers are having the kind of year where they end up winning a few that, not that they shouldn't win, but that still characterized as an upset. And I think this is one that they could pull that off with. Not much of an upset as Nebraska has just made their way into the top 25, a 5-1 team versus a 4-2. So not a lot of discrepancy there between the talent level on both of these. Dylan Raiola is having a fantastic year. He's just under 1,600 yards through the air, touchdowns to only 5 interceptions. But watch out for the Golden Gophers on this one. This could be a sneaky game.
Yeah, And I wonder if that, the rumor mill that's going around that Matt Rule, is like a front runner for that Penn State job. I wonder, does that trickle into the locker room? Does that get things stirred up and affect those Cornhuskers? I don't know.
He's already riding both sides of the fence with that whole discussion, talking about how much he loves Penn State. It's almost like home to him, and yet this is where he is. He loves Nebraska, and he's committed to this Cornhusker team. So he's already making those statements to make you wonder which side of the fence he's going to land on. But I agree. This is one to watch. This could be a statement win for the Cornhuskers, or this could be one of those things that maybe knocks him down a peg when it comes to the Penn State search.
Yeah, I saw that if he leaves early, that they have to pay $5 million to the Cornhuskers. I'm gonna tell you right now, if Penn State wants him bad enough, they'll pony up that $5 million. They don't care.
They'll find it because there are some other stipulations I found out about this week when it comes to the buyout and how that works for James Franklin and really just how that math works. So there's opportunity there for Penn State.
Yep. All right. So here's the next game, man. A number 12. Wow, this is crazy, man. 6-0, 3-0 in the ACC. Georgia Tech is taking on a unranked but 4-2 Duke. They are also 3-0 in the ACC. Duke is favored to win. Duke is favored to win that game by 1.5 points. They are playing in Durham, North Carolina. The over and under is 61.5. Look, man, I don't know. I really don't know. My gut tells me to go with Duke because they're at home. But, man, them Fighting Nerds have been playing really good football, man. So I'm going to go with the Fighting Nerds.
That really covers both sides of the field at this point. Duke, Georgia Tech. There's a lot of educated young men out there. Look, David Mensa is having a great year for Duke right now. 1,800 yards to the air, 15 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So he is lighting it up through the air. Duke carrying a 4-2 record. They are also undefeated in the ACC, but there's just something about that Ramblin' Wreck this year. 6-0 overall, 3-0 in the ACC. Haynes King is doing a fantastic job for the Yellow Jackets at Georgia Tech. I like Tech to continue their march through the season. Watch them to come out on top in this one.
All right, guys. So the next game is it shouldn't be anything. A number 1 6-0 Ohio State, 3-0 in the Big Ten is taking on a 2-4 Wisconsin. They are 0-3 in the Big Ten. Ohio State is favored to win that game by 24.5 points. Over and under is 40.5. Yeah, my honest opinion, as much as this pains me to say this because I'm an SEC guy, I am a Georgia football guy, but Ohio State's the best team in the country, hands down. I don't think it's close, and I think Ohio State just rolls all over the Badgers.
Nothing like a scheduled scrimmage midseason.
Absolutely. Now, this next game, man, could be interesting to me as well. 3-3, 0-3 in the Big Ten. Michigan State takes on a number 3. That's right, number 3, 6-0, 3-0 in the Big Ten. Indiana. Indiana is favored to win that game by 27.5 points. 52.5 is the over and under. I think Mendoza is having an absolutely crazy year. He's going to have his way.
Yeah, Mendoza, 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far this year. An outstanding season for that young man. Michigan State trying to bounce back after a loss to UCLA last week, but I think the Hoosiers are way more than what the Spartans are going to be able to handle in Bloomington on Saturday.
Yep. All right, this next game, man. Number 7, Texas Tech, 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12. Has to go to Arizona State to take on a 4-2, 2-1 in the Big 12. Look, man, Texas Tech is favored to win that game by 9.5 points, over and under 51.5. I like Arizona State in this game.
I do too. This is my upset pick of the week. There's just something about the Sun Devils that have my attention again this year. They obviously lost a lot with Cam Skadwoo going the NFL after last season, and we know what he's doing in the NFL so far, off to a great start this year. But Arizona State is still sneaky good. Texas Tech is riding way high right now. I look for that pitchfork of Arizona State to pop that Texas Tech bubble.
Absolutely. Look, man, a number 8, 5-1 Oregon. They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. Takes on a 3-3, 0-3 in the Big Ten. Rutgers over Oregon's favored by 17.5 points. Over and under 16.5. Oregon's just they're gonna bounce back big. They're gonna do well.
Another scheduled scrimmage for the Ducks.
Yep. A number 20, 5-1, Fighting Prophylactics, Southern Cal, is taken on, and they have climbed their way back. A number 13, 4-2, Notre Dame in South Bend. Notre Dame is favored to win that game by 9.5 points. The over and under 61.5. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but this could be a sneaky game for them.
It could be, earlier in the year, they lost the battle of the Catholics versus the Convicts Part 2. There's something unique about this matchup as well. It is a traditional rivalry between these two schools, but there's something a little bit deeper. If you peel back some of the tenets of the Catholic faith, I'm pretty sure that they don't believe in the use of a certain product manufactured in Southern California. So I look for the Irish to come out on top in this one. Faith prevails, and they defeat the Trojans.
A number 23 Utah, 5-1, 2-1 in the Big 12, takes on a number 15 BYU. They are 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12. Utah is favored to win that game by 3.5 points. Over under is 49.5. Give me the Utes. I like the name Utes. I'm all about the Utes. They beat the Fighting Mormons.
I like Utah in this one as well. I think everybody in the state of Utah is happy on Saturday, whether you're a Cougar fan, a Ute fan, whatever. Heck, even throw in the Aggies from Utah State. They're probably going to be excited on Saturday. But I do like the Utes in this ball game. I think it's going to be a close matchup. There's something special about the season that BYU is having again this year. But I think that the Utes could knock them off.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, look, man. So all in all, man, there's some great games outside of the SEC this week. I mean, fantastic. You shouldn't be bored at any point starting at 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. That was kind of a shot at Senior Chief. But anyway, you shouldn't be bored by any means, man. It's just going to be some great football. But let's dive into what I say and what you say, and I think what the world says is the best conference in college football, the SEC. I'm just saying. And look, we'll start out with my game, the game I'm not happy about by any means. I don't know how I feel about this game. So a number 5, 6-0 Ole Miss, 3-0 in the SEC, takes on a number 9 Georgia, 5-1 in the SEC, or 5-1 overall, 3-1 in the SEC. They have to go to the motherland. Ole Miss has to come to the motherland, Athens, GA. Georgia is favored to win that game by 8.5 points. Over and under is 54.5. I don't know, man. I think that was a big win Georgia did against Auburn last week. However, I don't think, and Georgia's been doing this all year long, starting slow, not start playing football till late the second or into the third quarter. I don't think you could do this against a Lane Kiffin Fighting Rebels. You're going to have to come out of the gate swinging in order to win that game, but I still like Georgia in this because it's in Athens. I like Georgia to win this game.
I am not remotely surprised by your prognostication. I'm going to go the other way. I think that Ole Miss is having a great year this year. The surprise of Chambliss at quarterback for the running Rebs has been immense. 1,286 yards through the air, 7 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Now, given that, he is going to Athens and he is going up against a Georgia Bulldog defense that is stout. He is going up against a Georgia team that won a close one against Auburn in Jordan-Hare. There could be a lot of bounce back for that from Georgia. Even though they won the game, it was a scary win. But I do think that this is the kind of season that Lane Kiffin has been looking for in Oxford. He's rolling into Athens at 6-0. These are the kind of wins that you've got to pick up on the road to make that championship run. I think the Rebs do it on Saturday. They pick up a huge win in Athens against Georgia.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this game. I mean, and I've been nervous about this game from the very beginning of the season. And then when I saw, Austin Simmons go down, I was like, okay, let's see how that shakes out. But Chambliss has come in, man, and golly, man, he's playing lights out football, man. He's got, like you said, 1,200 something yards. I mean, he's playing really, really good football. Now, they won a close one last week against Washington State. And I know some people are going to say, well, it was Washington State. But, man, it's hard to win big week in and week out. You're going to have those flub games. And was that flub game, even though it was a win, was that flub game last week for Ole Miss? And now they're going to come into Athens and run roughshod on us? I don't know. This offense, my bromance with Lane Kiffin, this is a tough game, man. It's going to be a really, really, really tough game for Georgia. I've said Georgia was going to drop one more game this season. I still believe that. This could be the one, but something tells me that it's not. I think Georgia will win, but this game is going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, to paraphrase a hit song from way back when, your boyfriend's back and the dogs are going to be in trouble.
This game right here, guys, it's a 12 o'clock kick Eastern time. This game is going to be fantastic to watch. A number 10, 5-1 LSU, 2-1 in SEC, has to go to Nashville, Tennessee to take on a number 17, 5-1, 1-1 in the SEC, anchor down Vanderbilt. Vandy is favored to win that game by 2.5 points. I know LSU is coming off a big win against South Carolina. I know Vanderbilt is coming off of a loss. But I'm telling you, man, I like Vandy in this game. I think Vandy gives LSU their second loss.
I think Vanderbilt makes a huge statement without having to say much in this game. I was underwhelmed by LSU in their victory over South Carolina last week. I know that they won the game. I know that it looked fancy in the lights up on the scoreboard. I know that they held home field in Death Valley in Baton Rouge. But I will tell you this, and you're free to disagree with me. It is the United States. Opinions run wild. It doesn't make you right, but you're free to disagree. South Carolina handed that victory over to LSU with ridiculous penalties, among other things. I'm not going to get into the whole LSU didn't win it, South Carolina lost it silliness that other people have done on this show. But I will tell you that based on what I saw from LSU, they don't stand a chance against Vanderbilt if Vanderbilt simply plays their game. We've seen it all year long, even in their loss to Alabama. Vanderbilt has a way of playing very controlled, very disciplined, very aggressive football. I think that they wear the Tigers out on Saturday in Nashville, anchor down. Pavia, Hebert, and the Commodores come out well on top.
Wow, you said well on top.
Well on top. I think Brian Kelly is looking for other positions after this game. He might not be very vocal about it, but look for his tenure in Baton Rouge to be on a ticking clock.
Ooh. Wow, you heard that first here at Chicken and the Dog. All right, what about this next game? You've got a little skin in this one. A number 14, 5-1, 1-1 in the SEC, Oklahoma. The Boomer Sooners have to take a drive. I'm going to probably say a flight to Columbia, South Carolina. They have to step foot on Williams-Brice Stadium and take on a 3-3, 1-3 in the SEC, South Carolina. I'm going to tell you right now, South Carolina comes back from a loss against LSU and completely ends Mateer's chance of ever winning a Heisman at Oklahoma. South Carolina wins this game.
Here's the two upsides for South Carolina in this game. Without providing you my forecast of wins and losses, the two upsides are this. Number one, it is in Columbia, home field advantage, Gamecocks. Number two, it is a midday kick. We hear all the time about noon kicks versus prime time, and all that is. I heard several years ago a comment made by former Gamecock great Ryan Brewer that they'd rather play midday because these guys wake up, they've got team breakfast, team meeting, they're amped to go, chomping at the bit. The longer that you make these athletes wait throughout the day for a primetime kick, a lot of that enthusiasm can begin to wane. Get these Gamecocks out there. They're a young unit, so they're going to be fired up, ready to go. The sooner we can get them on the grass to play, the better. And the fact that it's at home just echoes that. The defense is coming on strong for the Gamecocks. They forced 2 interceptions, or was it 3 interceptions against LSU on Saturday. 2 goal line stand fumbles inside the 20-yard line against the Bayou Bengals. Some magnificent plays when they were very much needed by this defense. So we need to get them on the field and mess Mateer up. He showed us last week what a concerted effort against a qualified defense can do to his game, and it ain't real good. Now, that said, there is upheaval. We didn't get to do the recap show, but there is upheaval in the offensive line group for South Carolina. No telling what that's going to look like. They got rid of their offensive line coach after the loss to LSU, which probably should have been done, I don't know, after the loss to LSU last year. That LSU was sending middle linebackers through the offensive line like Griswold running through a parking lot for Wally World. Nobody was there to stop them. So this game is really up in the air for me. I want the Gamecocks to win. Both of these schools are trying to bounce back in this one. I like Carolina by a field goal.
Yeah. All right, here's the next game. A number 4, undefeated, 6-0, 3-0 in the SEC, Texas A&M, the Screaming Aggies, are taking on a 2-4, 0-2 in the SEC, the Fighting Non-Pittmans, Arkansas. But they are playing in Arkansas. A&M is favored to win that game by 7.5 points. 61.5 is the over and under. I think the Aggies go to 7-0 in this game.
You know, I watched part of the Arkansas game this past week, and you had Petrino strolling the sidelines with his sunglasses on like he just stole something and didn't want to get caught. And I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt through the years. If you know the Petrino story, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. There's not enough time to go through all of this ridiculousness that's been in this coach's life. But I'll say this. I want Arkansas to be good. I do. I want Arkansas to lose to A&M because I want Bobby Petrino so far out of Fayetteville, it's ridiculous. I don't want the state of Arkansas to let him live in that fair land. I think they should send him over to, I don't know, Hawaii. Let's just get him as far away from the Southeastern Conference as possible. And I think that time zone would be fitting. I'm sure there's a Hawaiian Diesel Tech University over there somewhere that he can coach at. But I digress. I look for A&M to absolutely roll the Hogs on Saturday.
Well, we can send them to Cuba.
That's too close. Hawaii is further away than Cuba. But let's not do that to our Latino friends seeking freedom. That's not the example that they want.
Well, not at all. He would probably – never mind. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not even going to go there.
Right. Enough corruption down there already.
Yeah. The next game, man, is a 4-2, 0-2 in the SEC. Mississippi State has to go to the Swamp, Gainesville, Florida, and take on a 2-4, 1-2 in the SEC. Florida. Florida's favored to win that game by 8.5 points. I don't know if that's enough. I think Lagway has a big game. Napier has a big game, and sends Mississippi State to 4-3.
I don't remember all the details from our preseason forecast for either one of these teams, but I will tell you this. It was not going into this matchup with a 4-2 Mississippi State and a 2-4 Florida Gators. Just by far, this is a must win. Let me be absolutely clear because I don't really like the must win terminology, but this is a must win for Napier. You drop that game to Mississippi State in Ben Hill Griffith Stadium, pack your bags, sir. They are done with you. Lagway was supposed to be a Heisman candidate this year, and he is off to a terrible start halfway through the year. Just over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns to 7 interception. My friends, that's not neighborhood football award-winning numbers. They need to turn this thing around, and they need to turn it around quick with a big win over the Bulldogs on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to really agree with you on that as far as Napier, man. If somehow Mississippi State Bulldogs, puppies, pulls out a win in the swamp, Napier won't make it until, he'll be gone Saturday night because this game is at a 4:15.
He won't make it to the parking lot.
No, he's done. He will be out, and DJ Lagway will take over as head coach.
Or immediately enter the transfer portal, one or the other.
I think both of them have legitimacy. I really believe so. All right, here's the next game. A number 21, they're back in the top 25, 4-2, 1-1 in the SEC. Texas Longhorns take on a 2-3, 0-3 in the SEC, Fighting Stoops, Kentucky Wildcats in Kentucky. Texas is favored to win that game by 12.5 points. I like Texas in this game. I do.
I like Texas in this game. I do not like Texas to cover that spread. I think that there's too much made of Texas as a whole from that win against Oklahoma. I think Arch Manning, and I hate having to come back to this because I do feel bad for the kid, and I'm hopeful that he is progressing in the right direction. But he did just enough to win that game against Oklahoma. He did nothing special. The offense did not light up anything really in that game. They had some really great runs. Wisner had some fantastic runs for Texas last week, but to say that they need to have this win is an understatement. They need to do that to move on to 5-2. I don't think that Kentucky's got enough. I don't think Kentucky can stand up to the defense that the Longhorns are going to bring into Lexington on Saturday. But this could be a close one.
It could be, man. Let me ask you this. If Kentucky is 2-4 after this week, is Stoops' seat even hotter?
I don't know. I've heard a lot of different things about buyouts and all this at Kentucky. I think that Stoops wants to leave Lexington. So I don't know if we're looking at a buyout question or if we're looking at, is there anybody out there that would take me? And right now, I think the front runner in that race to the bottom would be Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech would take him because, listen, of all that's happened with Kentucky in the last couple of years, Stoops did build them up to something. He took them from being a basketball-only school to a basketball and, hey, we got a football team, and, hey, we got a football team level. Now, they faltered off the last 2 seasons, but I think Stoops is the kind of coach that you can bring into a program that is in historic trouble, which right now Virginia Tech is, and help build them back to something.
Did Vander Griffgroff actually start the spiral for Bob Stoops? For Mark Stoops? Mark Stoops.
I think Coach Stoops had a handle on that all his own. I don't think he needed Griffgroff's help. It didn't hurt. But yeah, I think that's all Mark all the time.
Yeah. All right, look, man, 2 games left. Whew. This game right here, 7:30 p.m. ABC. And number 11, 5-1, 2-1 in the SEC. Tennessee has to make that trip that they do every year. Well, every other year, shall I say. They have to go down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Nick Saban Field, and take on a number 6, 5-1, 3-0 in the SEC, Alabama. Alabama is favored to win that game by 7.5 points. The over and under is 58.5. I don't know who to call on this. I could see this going either way. I think Alabama's playing really, really good football, but so is Tennessee. My gut tells me that Alabama wins this game because Tennessee beat them last year.
That's what mine is telling me too. This game brings me back to Philip Fulmer years and the rumors that would circulate every time Tennessee had to go to Alabama that there were already arrest warrants written from the bench and in the officers' hands to apprehend Coach Fulmer as soon as he crossed the state line. I don't know if that's going to be true for Coach Heupel yet. If he comes in on Saturday and manages to upset the tide, then they might start writing the warrants for 2 years from now. But I will tell you this is going to be a knockdown, drag out, old school Southeastern Conference football game. Neither team wants to back down. I do like Alabama in this one. I think they hold serve at home at Bryant-Denny, but I think it's going to be a close one. I think you're looking anywhere from 5 to 7 on this one.
Yeah, but, I won't be shocked if Tennessee pulls this out either. I think Heupel's a great coach, and I think Tennessee's got a good football program. They're playing really, really good football. But I think it's, in my honest opinion, it's a coin flip on this one for me.
It's close for me, but I think that Alabama is the toughest defense that Tennessee has faced yet this year. And I know that they've gone up against your Georgia Bulldogs. But I think that there was some unique coaching decisions made at the end of that game that provided Georgia the opportunity to beat the Vols at home in Tennessee. I just think that Alabama's got a little bit more on defense right now. And I think that they've played a little bit more established offensively than Georgia has in some instances this year.
Yeah.
I think Alabama brings more to the table. I think they take care of Tennessee.
And it's in Tuscaloosa. That's a big deal.
That never hurts.
No, not at all. And here's the last game, and it's going to be a great game as well, man. Number 16, 5-1, the evil one takes on, and 1-1 in the SEC, takes on a 3-3, 0-3 in the SEC, Auburn, back-to-back games in Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. Mizzou is favored by 1.5 points. I believe Auburn comes out swinging after a loss to Georgia. Hugh Freeze makes a big game. I think he has a big game. Jackson Arnold has a big game. I like Auburn in this game.
Yeah, I think that this provides that opportunity. And before I dive too deep into my opinion, friends, let me take you to a letter from my Uncle Kenny. Never let Bama beat you twice. As a longtime college football enthusiast, I've learned many lessons in my years. 1, the game is never just about the scoreboard. It's about the weight of Saturday afternoons, the way the air smells different in October, the way hope can rise and fall with a single whistle. 2, no victory ever comes free. Every win extracts something, sweat, belief, a little piece of your soul. They hold the echoes of every heartbreak and every hallelujah, storing in them concrete and steel until another autumn asks for their release. And 3, never let Bama beat you twice. Columbia, Missouri woke up Sunday morning to that strange quiet that follows heartbreak. The air was still, gray with the kind of melancholy you can almost smell. Part charcoal smoke, part regret, part the fading hum of what might have been. Missouri had come so close to beating Alabama that you could feel the ghost of the wind, lingering in the air, like a ghost that hovers around and refuses to move into the next world. Eli Drinkowitz's team didn't just play Alabama. They invested their souls in the idea of winning. For months, the Tigers carried the game like a secret pilgrimage. Every sprint, every rep, every team meeting was freighted with purpose. With an extra week to prepare, they weren't just trying to win a football game. They were trying to prove something cosmic, that Missouri belonged, that Columbia could stand shoulder to shoulder with the Titans of the SEC. And then, in the dying minutes of a 27-24 loss, that fragile dream cracked. Leap of faith. As most of you already know, Soren Kierkegaard once wrote that despair is not the absence of hope, but the misalignment of the self, the tension between what you are and what you wish to be. Missouri football lives in that tension. The Tigers are too proud to see themselves as underdogs, yet too scared to trust success when it comes near. Against Alabama, they reached for transcendence. They wanted to touch the divine, some proof that all those gray mornings and grueling summers had meaning. But Kierkegaard warned that faith, the kind Missouri was chasing, requires a leap. The problem with leaps is you can fall. Missouri fell not in collapse of effort, but of emotion. They had climbed the mountain, glimpsed the summit, and found its receding just out of reach. In a strange, almost inexplicable blunder, offensive coordinator Kirby Moore abandoned the run as the game wore on. Ahmed Hardy, the backbone of the Tigers offense, finished with only 12 carries for 55 yards against Alabama, nearly half of his average carries per game. Missouri lost any sense of who they were. That kind of loss doesn't stay on the field. It lingers in the bloodstream. You see it on Monday mornings when the players walk into the facility a little quieter. You hear it in the locker room when laughter sounds forced. It doesn't resonate quite as sharp when the coaches say, "It will be okay. We will get them next time." The despair of almost. Missouri's story this week is not about talent or tactics. It's about the despair of almost. In Kierkegaard's terms, despair comes when you can see the person you want to be, but can't quite reconcile it with the person you are. For Missouri, that means watching film of Alabama and knowing deep down they were good enough. If only for one more play, one more drive, one more heartbeat. And that kind of pain is heavy. It doesn't go away in 6 days. In the South, football is theology wrapped in sweat and grass stains. Missouri learned that beating Alabama, or even almost beating them, takes a spiritual toll. The Tigers week will be defined not by film study or practice reps, but by the silent work of mending something invisible. Coaches will talk about focus and execution, but what they're really trying to rebuild is faith. Some programs harden after heartbreak, others unravel. Missouri stands at that crossroads now. The Kierkegaardian irony is that faith, the very thing that led them to believe they could beat Alabama, is also what they must now reclaim to survive Auburn. Auburn, meanwhile, waits in the shadows like a patient tempter. Jordan Hare is a cathedral of noise, built for nights like this, when another team limps in carrying ghosts it quite can't shake. The air down there feels different, thicker, almost sentient. The crowd doesn't cheer so much as hunt. They can smell hesitation before it forms, can taste the metallic tang of a team still grieving what might have been. Just ask the Georgia Bulldogs. Every false start will draw a roar that feels biblical. Every dropped pass, a sermon on the wages of doubt. Every fake timeout, like a cast stone. The haunting. Auburn doesn't need to be better. They just need Missouri to still be haunted. They'll circle slowly, testing the Tiger's spirit, waiting for the moment when confidence collapses into memory. Jordan Hare has seen this play before. The proud traveler who scales a mountain one week and stumbles into the valley the next. In that place, under those lights, the game becomes less about execution and more about exorcism. If Missouri can't shake the lingering ache of Alabama, Auburn will finish what the Tide began, not with dominance, but with devouring patience. The Tigers from Columbia will find ghosts that travel well, and Jordan Hare knows exactly how to make them feel at home. The Plains. Auburn's loss to Georgia was a wound that cut deep. 2010 final, but written in the margins of controversy and agony. A late ruling at the goal line, a fumble called when many believed Jackson Arnold had broken the plane, shifted the momentum and left Jordan Hare in stunned silence. It seemed that Jordan Hare's ghosts were turning inward, and yet that stadium itself might become a healing balm. In whispers swirling through Tiger fandom, there's talk of restitution, not in cash, but in something far more symbolic. The stadium itself will reimburse the spirit of the team. More precisely, Jordan Hare will redouble its devotion. The lights will burn brighter, the crowd louder, the colors deeper. The stadium promises sanctuary. Every yell, every stomp, every echo will carry the weight of requital. Because Auburn doesn't ask for mercy, they demand compensation. The turf will feel their hunger again. The bleachers will lean in as if conspiring, and when the Tigers return to that holy ground, bloodied, bruised, unbowed, they'll find that Jordan Hare isn't just a field. It's a promise, a vow, a debt to be paid with noise, with passion, with redemption. In that roar lies the stadium's unspoken refund. Dark forces are conspiring against the evil one. The Missouri Tigers are walking directly into a buzzsaw.
Yeah. Uncle Kenny.
Uncle Kenny,
Wow.
and he just speaks with such eloquence and truth. I'm going Tigers in a big win against the Tigers from Missouri. War Eagle Auburn takes this one on Saturday.
So all three of us are going Auburn. I like it, man. I really do. I mean, there was a lot of controversy in that Georgia game. There's no doubt about that. And I think that game will be talked about quite a bit throughout the season. But I, Auburn's going to be fired up in this game. Hugh Freeze is going to be fired up in this game. Jackson Arnold is going to be, I mean, he's going to be on pins and needles ready for this game. And I don't think Eli Drinkowitz and Missouri Tigers are going to be able to. They could actually win this game by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think they can really dominate this game and be playing out of just pure emotions. And it could be very ugly for the Mizzou Tigers.
Yep, I completely agree. I think that Auburn, in a tremendous fashion, upsets the Missouri Tigers on Saturday. And I think Missouri will bounce back. They're having a great year.
For sure.
Certainly having a year that we didn't see coming. Prbula is having a great season under center for them, but I just feel like the Auburn Tigers and War Eagle is going to be way too much for them at Jordan-Hare on Saturday. I like the big upset for the Auburn Tigers.
I do too. Look, guys, that's all that we have. So, look, man, like us, love us, share us, subscribe to us, comment on it, man. I know that we haven't done any dog barks in a few weeks. There's just been so much to talk about. And that may be the case again when we do the recap show. I don't know. It just depends on how many people get fired over the week. I mean, there's no telling what all to talk about. But look, man, like us, love us, share us, subscribe to us. Chicken, you got anything?
Jesus won, and I'm all crowed out.
I love you, deuces.